So today is Tuesday. And today what I want to talk to you about is first is going to be that English ivy that I talked to you all about yesterday. I told you I was going to do a repotting. I don't know if we are going to do a repotting or not. It is a lot of soil and stuff I have to go through. I'm going to show it to you right now so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's get some light. All right. This right here is a English ivy. You can get these from usually your local nurseries. They usually have a whole section full of them. That's where I got it from. When it comes to care with them, they're very easy to care for. It's just these plants, well, this plant in general, was inside of here. It had got sick about a year ago, and what I did was just set it outside over the summertime, well, the springtime, set it out, and it enjoyed the summer, and it completely took off, and it did really well. Well, I'll be honest, when I set it outside, I didn't really expect for it to survive. I thought that, whatever was going to happen, I just didn't want to give up on it. But threw it outside, and here we are. Now, to fast forward, this pot is way too big. So, anytime I water this plant, I get a whole lot of yellowing. And when I don't water this plant, I get a whole lot of yellowing. One, I'm overwatering when I do water it. The other one, not watering it enough. And that's because the pot's too big. I don't want it to hold that much moisture because I don't want to deal with the gnats and all of that. So I am going to have to get in here and do that, but maybe that'll be a video that will actually spend some time and go through some of the things I do when I do a repot. What's up, bro? Sending positivity to you and your plants. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that, Black Vega. Over here, what I'm going to talk to you all about is going to be trailing plants and why I recommend them. Let's move a little bit closer. We in the frame, we're good? All right, so these are definitely some plants that you have seen at some point in time when you go into your store. This right here is the Philodendron Brazil. This right here could be the silver stripe. It was called something else. Who knows at this point in time? Oh, the Rio. Philodendron Rio. Then we have our Scindapsus over here. We have our Dragon Tail down here. And then we have a piece of Big Mama, which is a Philodendron Gitanium. Now, I will always suggest trailing plants for beginners. And the reason why is because, one, the price. You're not going to find a plant that's going to be cheaper than these ones over here. Now, you will be able to find plants that are going to be smaller. That, of course, because they're coming in smaller sizes, that the price is going to be cheaper. But when you're just looking at the overall point of buying a plant and what it's going to do for you, well, a trailing plant is a safe way to go. One, we're talking about price. Next, let's get to convenience. Pretty much any plants that you see right here or even on my other trailer rack, they're plants you can go into your stores and get. So it's nothing that's special that you have to order online. You have to worry about a price markup. You don't have to worry about any of that. So that's another good thing. Another one, or I should say third, is going to be the ease of propagations. I don't know about you, but when it comes to a plant, the first thing I want to do is learn how to grow it so I can be able to cut it and grow more of it. That's the whole thing of a plant. Well, part of my experience is being able to have the mother plant and to be able to grow the offsprings of it, because that just lets me know I understand the plant fully. And it always seems like the plants that you grow on your own, all the way from just a cutting, if somebody sends it to you, or a tissue culture. And a tissue culture is just a bag. Like imagine a plant being sent to you in a bag about this size. The plant is a very, very, very little baby. It's too small for you to put into soil, so you put water on it, it'll completely die. But you'll grow it in something like your sphagnum moss until it gets a little bit bigger. That's what your tissue culture is. It's very small. And most of the time we get tissue culture because we just can't afford the more expensive one. Now, if there are like rare variants, or maybe something is sold here or so forth, and even on that, it's still a very limited supply. Nobody buys a plant this big because that's what they plan to do, unless it's just something special or so forth. But again, these plants are very easy to propagate. All you have to do, and this goes for almost any trailing plants that you have, okay? All of them have this basic system right here. They have a long vine, And all you need to do is cut it, and once you cut it, you can take those little nodes that's right there at the end, put them in your sphagnum moss, and you can grow from there. Now I like to use sphagnum moss and perlite. The only reason why it is not needed, I feel like the perlite and the sphagnum moss saves me sometimes from that very beginning phase of when the plants first start off with propagating. I don't know about you, but I ran into a lot of when you propagate it and it's just sphagnum moss and you go back to it, sometimes you have like blackwood and rotted. It's just too much water, too much moisture in there. Since I started using the perlite, I haven't had to worry about that. It adapts and it does pretty well. So that's why I recommend to do that. Now, of course, it's your plants. You do whatever it is that you want to do, and whatever is going to work for you, that's what you continue doing. Now, I say it all the time. If what you are doing is working, don't allow me or anybody else to tell you that you need to be doing more if it's going. Now, of course, if your plant's just getting by and you know you need to do something better, then yeah, listen to somebody that can help you out, do a little bit better than what you're doing. But if your plant's growing normal like it's supposed to, it has the colors like it's supposed to, it's just doing what it needs to do, you don't need to do more. I hit a little phase where my plants finally started to wake up. I started to do good with them, but I looked around to the left and to the right, and I felt like everyone else was giving their plant way more better care than I was giving mine. And then I started looking, well, I don't buy this and I don't buy that. And that's when the money and the prices start to add up. Again, which is why it's best to stick with these plants to start with, because they don't require you to have to go out your norm and spend money that you don't have or maybe don't want to spend yet. Do your research. The stuff that I give to you, the stuff that I recommend, they're very cheap products, okay? I'm flat out, I'll tell you, I am not going to the store and picking out the most expensive stuff. I'm not going online picking out the most expensive stuff, the baddest stuff. I'm not doing that. Even down to my grow lights, I keep everything sweet and simple. You should see how many people have half of the amounts that I have if you just go to, if you go on your social media sites. Hey, how you doing, Miss Lady June? What's going on, sir? Hello, everyone. You should see that the amount of money that they spend on grow lights or on their plant care items. Again, I'm not saying anything is wrong with it, and I'm pretty sure that stuff is probably legit. But what I recommend is always something, good vibes. What's going on, Plant Fund? I always recommend something that's cheap so you can get more of it, and so that way you can be consistent at it. You may not have $100 every single month, right? But you can be consistent at having $20 every month, right? And if that works for you, then hey, you found your guy, because I have too many plants to be paying premium price on every single thing. Now, again, there are other people, I'm pretty sure that's out here, that have no problem with the amount of plants that I have them going and paying the premium price. I'm not going to do that. That's why the plants that I pick and I choose are the plants that don't need that. Now, if you can give these plants, like this one just for instance, if you can give these trailing plants a lot of bright indirect light, they don't even mind the sun hitting them for a little while. Now, it doesn't need to be beaming on them directly for hours at a time, but 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes at night, they still will do great. Now, I'm giving you all the positives, saying, hey, it's cheap to get. Hey, it's real good and easy to grow from. Also, all those in the chat. Yeah, good morning, everybody in the chat. Right, we all should say good morning to each other. We're having a great morning. I think we are. We're talking about plants. So, in addition to the price being well, in addition to you being able to learn from them, in addition to you being able to propagate the plants, I have to give you a downside of it. And that's going to be mealybugs. Now, these plants are basically a mealybug magnet, in my opinion, any type of trailing plants. And the reason why I say that they are is not so much as they attract mealybugs more than any other plant, it's because they have way more places to hide than our other plants. If you look at our big leaf plants, let's go with an example. I'm going to grab you a big leaf plant. And of course, why not show off my beautiful Congo while I'm at it? Right here. This right here is my Philodendron nuclear Congo, probably one of the prettiest plants that I have. Did I know that this plant was going to push out this type of leaf when I bought it? No, didn't know what it could do, but that's another thing that comes with buying plants on auctions. When you do that, the rush is there. You may not know what the plant's going to look like once it starts to grow, but boom, Once it's here, it's here. And this is a beautiful plant that I've always wanted to have a plant in my room that I just feel like is a wow factor. Of course, I have a lot of wow factor plants that I come in here. I'm not overlooking any of those. I'm just saying every once in a while, it's nice just to have a plant just kind of catch me by surprise. Like, wow, look at what that did. Like every time my Escaleto put out a new leaf, and that leaf just gets bigger and bigger. I had a brand new one to just get pushed out about 2 weeks ago. And I kid you not, that leaf on that Escaleto is probably about this size. If you all want to see that plant, you need to go ahead and tell me you want to see it. I'll take the camera to it so you can see it. But if not, we'll stay in here and we'll continue talking about this part. The trailing plants though, but we was talking about the mealybugs. Now, you see a big leaf plant like this, when it gets mealybugs, they'll be all along the stem, right? Okay, you said, Patricia Jackson, I want to see it. Okay, cool. We're going there next. If you have mealybugs will start to show all behind this leaf and you'll be able to see it in a stem. But the thing is that it's so visible for you to be able to see that the mealybugs, it doesn't seem like it's a whole lot of them. And it's because you're able to catch them. But in these trailing plants, we'll use this one for example. In a trailing plant, there are so many places where they could be able to hide. They can hide in between these little grooves here. They can get underneath all of these little leaves. And you think about it. I just showed you a big plant in retro size right here. This is a pretty big plant. This plant is bigger than this plant, some would say, right? But the chances of this plant getting mealybugs and really completely tearing this plant up is more likely than dealing with this. That's why, well, I'm glad you learned a lot. That's what we're here for. But a plant like this could definitely get those mealybugs in there, and you're screwed if you don't go ahead and get in there with early prevention. Now, the good thing about these plants, again, the pro, they're cheap. So if you're not able to save your plant in enough time, then you can go back to the store and buy another one. Now this right here is a real, I wouldn't suggest that you go straight out and buy this one only for prices. You're gonna pay, for this one on average, you'll pay about 25 to 30. Well, a plant this size for this brand, you'll pay on average about $40 to $50 if you get this from like your local nursery. Now, if you was to stumble upon something like this in your Home Depot, your Lowe's around this size, you'll probably pay about $29 or something for it. And that's because it's not a regular Brazil. This is a specific type, more like silver stripe, cream splash, and so forth. But I want to show you all that Escaleto. Let's head on there. Okay. All right, here we go. Just cleaning up around my house, drinking green tea, and taking notes on plant care so I know what I'm doing. Hey, the best note I can give to you is learn it on your own speed. Don't overwhelm yourself with plants. If a plant is giving you too much pressure to the point that you're just losing your mind, you're spazzing out, get rid of the plant. Don't let a plant take you through the hole with it, okay? But be patient with them. Sometimes you do something to them and they throw out a whole fit, and they may not push anything out for 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months, you know, and that's okay. So I'm eating lunch, hey, that's what I need to be figuring out what I'm gonna eat. I ate some boiled eggs this morning, and them boiled eggs left just as fast as they came in. I'm gonna show you all this Escaleto new leaf. So the new one is right there at the top. Do you see the size of that? Now the one previous is a little bit close to it, but you can see it directly under it. But as you can see, that brand new leaf came in. That is freaking crazy. As you know, plants are very much alive and want to make sure they thrive. Exactly. And plants are telling on you. I always say this right here. Usually, yeah, fellas is happy in that corner. Yes. Loving it. I actually have a humidifier down here. I gotta move up, sorry. My arm is different looking on the camera. I have a humidifier down here that I've been running at night for about an hour and a half. It's been helping a lot with the humidity because as you can see on some of these leaves, they're just so flopped down, but the plant is not thirsty. It's definitely just humidity. If I was to give them water right now, I'll drown them and they'll have root rot. All right, let's head on back to the room. But yeah. Oh, I guess since we're here, never mind this. Okay, so I can show you. Right here, the business that I've been talking about with my plant shirts and stuff, I'm actually laying out different shirts because I want to check out the colors and so forth. And I'm definitely going to be talking about it more and more. You all going to be like, gosh, I'm tired of him talking about this company. But for right now, we're talking about the plants, but all of that is tied into the company. Is called Grown on Tuesday. And it's going to have a lot of just plant, not just plant, but also mental health stuff on there as well. But plants, I'm going to show you a few things. I couldn't put this on the website because I'm gonna make a fresh one. All the stuff that I've been wearing, just seeing how I get a feel for it, I'm gonna make fresh ones so I can take pictures of. But right here in fall, falling over plants, yeah. Plant lover, yeah. Okay, anyway, let's get back to the plants. All right, over here, this is the Philodendron Mayola. Well, I believe I'm pronouncing it right. As you can see, she's a freaking monster in here. I'm gonna have to extend her or either cut her. I had one of my friends on Instagram, she told me that I should put it up against the wall and let it trail around. I just feel like unless I put it on this wall right here, if I trail it around that way, it's not gonna get enough light. That's dope, good design. I appreciate that. I have a couple of other fabrics that I did buy. I just adopted a Philodendron Glorisum and brought a Philodendron Brazil, and I found your video. Hey, I'm glad you found that. I actually have a Glorisum that's upstairs. You know what? I'm gonna take you off the stand, and let's go take a look at the Glorisum I have upstairs since you're talking about it. Y'all got to excuse, my daughter's birthday is it's really not until the 27th, but she's already celebrating now, so there's balloons and stuff all over the house. All right, here we go, guys. All right, so this is the Glorisum right here that I have, and these right here are the silver swords. You're actually gonna see a video of me putting that out. Over there is my Zebra Blue. Not too much to talk about because we actually got a little bit of problems going on. All right. And I'm gonna share what some of those problems are once we tackle them. But for one, it definitely has a mealybug outbreak inside of there. I've been treating it. Yep. Let me get down these steps. Whew, about out of breath. Deep breath. Okay, back here. Huh. Let's see here, the plant bug. Let's see. I didn't get to catch everything. I missed it. Hey, Sean, I agree. I'll put it on the wall, let it trail. Does anyone else in your family have the plant bug? Plant bug may be on this. So my daughter, she loves plants and she loves growing them. She actually had a Monstera, we'll have to do that one a little bit different. My wife is upstairs washing her hair. I don't want to walk in on her and then everybody on live like, whoa! So I don't know exactly what she's doing. I hear the voice. She said she was washing her hair, but who knows? But I have a Monstera Deliciosa that's upstairs in our bedroom, and that's actually was my daughter's plant. This is what happened. She was fine with opening her blinds up every day until I moved the plant in her room, and then she wanted to keep her blinds closed all the time. Now, to be fair, she did get a new bed, and her bed has this LED light strips, which I'm not for it. I done my research, and they said that the LEDs can do something to the mind that makes it hard for a child to sleep. So I do make her put it on an hour setting, but kid is only gonna be a kid one time. When she gets to be get to middle school, she ain't gonna care nothing about the LED lights on her bed. At least so I think. My son would have them wrapped all around the room, so who knows? But yeah, she had a Monstera and she wanted to keep her blinds closed. I was like, sweetie, we're not gonna be able to do this if you keep your blinds closed because your plant's not gonna be able to grow. So she gave it to him. I have a Zebra Blue in my Monstera eyeball pot that looks good together. That Zebra Blue, nobody told me how fast they grow. I had no idea. Mine is sick, not even doing the best, and that thing won't slow down. I actually need it to slow down so I could properly treat it
But every time I go back to it, like every day, it feels like it grows and it connects to the plank. So now I can't pull it from the plank, or at least I don't want to pull it from the plank, because I know that's how the leaves are going to be able to split eventually and fenestrate when it becomes older. But I'm trying to treat the plant, but it's harder to treat the plant when the plant keeps growing crazy. How long have you been growing plants? I've been growing plants since 2021. COVID. When COVID came, I used to just go to the gym. That was my thing. That was my therapy. Go to the gym, go to the gym. But once they closed the gym down, then I needed something to ease my mind. So I got into photography. I bought me a camera and said, you know what? I'm gonna become a content creator. That's what I'm gonna do. And so I got me a camera and I went outside and I started taking pictures of all the beautiful plants, the trees, and all that. And I realized that's when I love plants. But the thing that I got agitated about was when it went from spring to summer, then to fall, the plants died. And the trees, they did what trees do. So, with the exception of being able to capture autumn, it's nothing that beautiful to capture for winter unless I want to capture snow. But as far as plants, nothing. So, I got annoyed and I was like, you know what? I'm going to grow my own plants. So, that's what I did. I went to the store, picked up a few plants to grow. They all almost died. Then I went and picked up this jade pothos, and that plant started doing pretty good. And then it started to die. I had it in the perfect setting. I had moved it over in the corner. It was over the window. It was doing great. And then it got to be so big, so heavy because it was right there over the window. It became in the way because at that time I was staying in my townhouse and I had a double door refrigerator. And let's just imagine this is the wall with the window right here. I had the plant hanging here, and my kids, wild with the freezer door, since it's a double door, they just whoom, and when they do, I hear boom, and the plant was right there close, which I don't think we probably should have had a side by side refrigerator in there the way it was positioned. We had to cut a little piece of the window down there, not the window, but the window wood, just to be able to open up the door. Anyway, the plant had become so long that it trailed down there. So when you open up the door, it would completely hit the vines and basically split it. So that plant just basically never grew there because it was always dinged. So me being, oh well, let me get ahead of this. I decided to move the whole plant over top of the refrigerator. Absolutely no window light at all. And then I don't even know if I remember to water it. I went back probably in less than 3 months. I had took a plant that was growing all the way from here all the way to the floor. It was up to a nub, just like this. And the new sprouts that was coming, well, it was no new sprouts coming out of it, to be clear. The rest of them, good origin story. That's a positive outlay, especially the reason you got interested in the first place. Exactly. That one plant, though, the plants inside the pot, they eventually started turning brown as well. And I was like, what am I going to do? Well, at that time, me and my Oma had just reconnected on our relationship at no fault to me or anything, messy divorce, whatever. So I call her and I'm walking her through. I'm like, Oma, I don't know what's going on with my plants. And she's like, well, hold on, honey, let's just do this. So we would FaceTime each other, and it was a big thing for me. I know the fact that I could just propagate and repot 3 plants randomly right now, but where I was at then, I was scared to touch a plant. I was like, okay, it's starting to die. That's it. That's done. And she was like, no, no, I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna do. So we went outside on the back. She sent me on this little journey with FaceTiming each other. She's like, yeah, make sure you get that. So we're walking around, and we pick up stray rocks. I didn't know what the rocks was gonna be for. So we pick those up, and then we come and we sit down and we get the pot. And she says, go ahead and get your trimmers. I didn't have trimmers, so we got the scissors. She told me make sure that they sanitize, get you some alcohol pads, and wipe it on down. I was like, oh my, I don't have none of that. But what I do have is some dish soap and a sponge. I'll use that. Clean that. So we cleaned it all the way out, went, sat outside. I set the phone up so she could see as we're walking through it. I'm sitting down. And we start cutting the plant all the way back. So it was trailed, the little pieces that had kind of came over the plant. She was like, they're no good, basically, or we can make them good. So what she did was the ones that looked really bad, like nothing was going to happen to them, she said, go ahead and cut those off. But the ones that had lymph to them and had green to them, but the leaves was just bad and wilted and all that, that's what we used the rocks for. We took them, and instead of propagating them where you can cut it and then you can set it in some soil, what we did was loop it back around on top of the soil. As long as those nodes have something to be able to grow down on, they'll do all right. So We circled it back around at the top of the soil, and then we took the rocks to be able to layer it on top. And that's what kept it flush up against. I kid you not, in about 3 months, that plant, it had those little green sprouts coming back, and that's all I needed to see. As long as I saw some growth, you couldn't tell me that plant wasn't back on the floor again once I saw that, because I was like, there is no stopping me to this. So that's what kicked that part off on me actually doing the plant journey, because I realized I could actually care for it. Now at that time, my Oma had probably about 24 plants. I had only had that plant that had survived, and I believe I had two more. You know, around the holiday time, you go there and you get the plant with the pothos that's popped up in there, and then it's something else that uses some stray plant that comes in there that's not supposed to be in the pot together around the holiday time. Well, I had one of those just laying around too, a bromeliad. I think that's what it's called, purple one. So at that point in time, those were the only plants that I had. But after I got that plant grown back, I said, if I can bring a plant back, then I'm not going to be scared of no plants. And boom, my collection just started adding and going from there. And before you knew it, in less than like 2 months, I called my old mom and I was just showing her all these plants and stuff. And she had never heard of these plants because she's like, the internet, she didn't even know you could buy plants off the internet. So you can imagine, like, the plants that she had were the plants that you just go into the store and you just pick up. And at that point in time, before I started knowing about the internet, that was all I thought you can get plants from. I ain't think it was nobody crazy enough to buy a plant from California to get shipped all the way to North Carolina. I ain't know it worked like that. I didn't know, now it's nothing to me. Now, if I didn't have to worry about import and tax and the whole thing of if my plant arrives dead and all that, I will order from out the country. I'm just not that dedicated yet to do that. Maybe at some point in time, if I find something that really, really just enticed me to have to buy online from out the country, I will. But for now, I just kind of keep it in the United States if possible. But now when she's seen my collection, she's just blown away, because now that she's a little bit older, we kind of don't want her to have so many plants to overwhelm her. I keep telling her, like, oh my, you need to sit down. And she got into this phase where she just goes into the stores, and every plant that she sees on clearance, she buys it. And then she asks me questions about them sometimes, and I don't know. I don't. So her most recent one that she bought, what was it? Gosh, I don't even. I think it was an alocasia. I don't even know how to grow that thing. All I told her, I was like, Oma, maybe turn it to the side. I don't know. And she's like, well, we'll figure it out, sweetie. We will. So that's on that. That's how I got started with the plants. And now whenever her plants are sick, not doing well, whenever my mom's plants are not doing well, hell, when anybody's plants around me are not doing well, they'll call me and they'll ask me what it is that they need to do and what it could do. And most of the time, it's very, very simple. Oddly enough, my Oma really just with one plant, that was the only time she had mealy bugs. So it's not even pests. Most of the time, people, it's watering issues. Actually, let me scale that back. Lighting issues is number one. I don't know what it is, but we love to set up a plant in a dark space and just want it to do well. You just assume because a little bit of light coming in the room, that's just enough. Like, it's not it. I read a study that it says somewhere around, it's like 90% of the light that a plant receives indoor is the actual, it's not even the amount that it really needs. I said that stupidly, but the light that it receives inside the room is not even 90% of what it will receive out there in the wild. Of course, it can't be bright sunlight, but the amount of just light that it does get, it doesn't have to worry about buildings blocking it or other trees or having to share the light with the room. It's just out there in the field or underneath the tree, and it gets the light that it needs as well as the water and so forth. So if you don't give your plant proper light just from the window or even grow lights, it's still just enough. But if you give it absolutely nothing, then what do you think is going to happen? And that's most of the issues that I've run into with people who have problem with plants is definitely light. Second thing is watering. Water them too much or they underwater. Really, repotting is never really an issue. And the only reason why is because before, most of the time before they even get to the repotting phase, they've already killed the plant anyway because they didn't give it enough light or water. So it's very rare that I hear problems. I repotted my plant and it died. Unless you're somebody who's been taking care of plants for a long time and your plant got big enough and you got ready to do a repot and maybe you accidentally skipped some steps or you accidentally rushed it, We all do that. We repot a plant today and we expect it to be thriving tomorrow. If you have a plant that's coming in and you're getting ready to do a repot and it has a new leaf that's about to unfurl, my advice to you, unless it is an emergency repot, let that leaf unfurl, because if you repot that plant while that leaf is in the middle of unfurling, it won't unfurl for you. Secondly, if you have plants that aren't blooming or aren't unfurling, they're getting all the way up to the top and they're just sitting there, check your watering. Most likely your plants are drying out. It's not like a stuck leaf to let you know, or not a stuck leaf, but a leaf that unfurls to let you know that you need to be doing a little bit more watering, okay? Now you can, if you're having just pure watering issues, like let's just say that you're watering your plant and tomorrow's back thirsty and the day after that it's just thirsty, then that means you need to add a little bit more indoor potting mix or something that's going to be able to keep it concentrate inside of the pot. It's just too airy. Your plant's not going to benefit from being too airy, like it's not going to benefit from the soil just being too muddy like, okay? So it's good to find a good balance. I will always say go more airy. So let that mix dry out faster than trying to retain the moisture, because that's one sure way to root rot. You can use to bring a plant back if it's not doing good, because dryness, and get it some water and it'll start slowly coming back, whether it's a new sprout or so forth. Sorry about that. I really think that that's all that I have to cover on that topic. Let's see, I might have missed some stuff while I was talking. Voice Orange, she came in with the wisdom. Yes, she did come in with wisdom. Remember me? Yes, I do remember you. You was the one, I think, yesterday that you was asking about poisonous plants, and I told you I was not going to give you no poisonous plants because you didn't seem like you was going to make some good choices with it. I'm glad to know you're not playing around with poisonous plants. Now, what kind of plants do you keep in the house? I am interested. I don't think you shared that with me, and I am curious. Other than that, though, guys, the only thing that I need to do is water my dragon tail down there. He said, so that means you don't have no house plants, so that means you do. Only thing I need to do is water that plant over there, and pretty much all the water has been taken care of. Don't forget to hit the like for Sean's stream. Yeah, don't forget to do that. I got to practice that. I keep saying that I'm going to memorize the saying because people sound so cool when they be like, hey, hit that like, subscribe, comment, follow your boy. So we can use that one, right? Cool. All right. Y'all have any questions or comments? If not, I'm going to get off of here and do what I do. Maybe do that repot and get a video out there. Also, if you like the series Hit Sips and Plant Tips, there's some things just playing around with, thinking about making that a long form video. So that way we can actually sit down and I can go more in depth with the tips. I feel like I be rushing them sometimes and I want to make sure you get it. And I want to make sure the video is all the way thorough and I don't skip any steps that could really just be paramount to you excelling in your plant journey. I did see one more part down here. Amazing display, well done. I appreciate that. Strap Halasis 1467. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. No, me, I probably did. But anyway, guys, with that being said, if you have any questions, anything, stick them down there. I do read them, and who knows, I may answer some of your questions tomorrow. All right, y'all take care.